In this video, we'll talk about the functionality within the Chaikin platform to manage and navigate your lists. To access a view of the lists in the Chaikin platform, click on the three horizontal bars, which will in turn open up the list view. You can see there's several types of lists: user lists, industry list, indices lists, U.S. equity ETFs, and finally Chaikin hot lists. The platform allows you to create as many lists as you wish. They're stored under the users list. And there is one default list called My Stocks. This list cannot be deleted. It can be renamed. And this is the default list where when you set up email alerts, which is covered in a different video, the process will default to sending a list on all stocks in this particular list called My Stocks. Now, as you can see, I've also created several additional lists. To create a new user list, simply click on the new list icon and type in the name of your list. In this case, Rob's new list. From here, hit a hard enter. When you click the hard enter, you can see the system is creating a list. The list has the list name here, the power bar rating, access to the global filter, and two other signals. As you can see, there are no stocks included in this list. As with the previous list, you are free to, of course, enter stocks as I've shown before by clicking the plus sign here. This will populate the list. You can also copy and paste to add stocks to this particular list, as was shown in a different video. Moving on to other types of lists. I'm done with user lists for now, so I'll click on the icon to close it. And let's take a brief look at industries. The industries list is based on the industry classifications that we use within the Chaikin analytics platform. This may be arrayed in two ways. It may be sorted by the power bar of each individual industry, or it may be on an A to Z or alphabetical scenario. So let's see. So Microsoft, the active chart on the workspace, is part of computer software and services. So let's go ahead and click on that list. And as you can see, it is displaying the stocks included in that list. So within this list, we should be able to scroll down and see Microsoft. To make that easier to do, we can change how you sort a list. We can change the symbol to sort by symbol, A to Z, rather than sorting by power gauge rating, which is the default sort. We can go back down and look and see if we can find Microsoft included on this list. And as you can see, Microsoft is a constituent of this list. The other thing that I can do within the list navigation view is I'm able to, by clicking this icon here, it closes the list within the workspace, but it does bring up the power bar ratio for each one of these lists by industry. I currently have the industry sorted by A to Z. I can change that to sort them by power gauge rating, strongest to weakest. Business products is at the top with a power bar rating of 5 bullish, 0 neutral, 0 bearish. And soaps, cosmetics is at the bottom with 0 bullish, 13 neutral, 3 bearish. And that's how I can use lists in the industry section. So I'll click on that to close it. Let's go down to the U.S. equity ETFs. Doing the same thing I did before, clicking on the category opens up the submenu containing all of the ETF types that we cover by category. For example, all the ETFs we cover in the consumer discretionary, or all the ETFs we cover in spider subsectors, all of which are arrayed by their classification. To open up any particular list, you can click on this triangle here, and it will open up a list of the spider sectors sorted by power gauge rating, strongest to weakest. And if I click on this triangle here, I change the display to include the individual constituents of, for example, XLF. By clicking on this icon here, I can also load the ETFs in the spider sectors as a watch list. And there I have the ETFs. As with anything else, I can also switch to a panel view and get an example of how each of these spider sector ETFs is performing. Back to the workspace view. And I can do this for any one of the ETFs by clicking on this icon here, and here by clicking on the individual ETF. I load the ETF as the workspace view, and I have a list of all the constituent stocks in that ETF. Again, by clicking up here, I then open the power bar, and I can see from the power bar ratio the relative strength of that ETF expressed as the relationship between the number of bullish and number of bearish stocks. As with anything using the power bar, you need to take into consideration the impact of any neutral and neutral plus and neutral minus stocks. So in this case, it's not significant with two neutral pluses and two neutral minuses. Remember, a neutral plus stock is a bullish stock trading below the 200-day moving average, while a neutral negative stock is a bearish stock trading above the 200-day moving average. So let's close out the U.S. equity ETFs and move down to the final category in the list, and that's Chaikin hot lists. Chaikin hot lists are essentially pre-run screens that are placed for the convenience of our members. So say you were looking for a bullish stock. Let's go ahead and look at bullish turnarounds. Now, as I hover the mouse over the field, I will get a definition of that screen. Stocks which have been out of favor with intermediate term reversals likely to continue. I also get the date it was last updated, which was Friday, April 19th. By clicking on this list, I will bring up in the workspace view a list of the stocks included as part of this list. Remember, this list is really just the results of a screen that we run for you and update as indicated. With anything else, I can click on the power bar or the triangle and open up the power bar. As you would expect from bullish turnarounds, there are 19 bullish, 0 neutral, 0 bearish. Conversely, in classic bears, 0 bullish, 0 neutral, 7 bearish. You can also go through and access hot lists on the basis of different signals. Say you like a signal for oversold buy. What this list does is it shows you a list of stocks that have received oversold buy signals today. It gives you the date of update. And as we know, an oversold buy signal could indicate the proper time to enter a position in that stock. This is a quick screen to show you which stocks are showing that symbol for you to consider them for a possible appropriate trade. You can go through the remaining power categories, and I wanted to talk specifically about ETF hot list since this is a new feature. So we've added this hot list for ETFs as part of our overall increasing coverage of ETFs. So in here, you can look at sector ETF leaders. By clicking on it, you'll see the individual sector ETFs grouped by power gauge rating and their current trading prices. The chart actually is the chart for the ETF mentioned. And if I wanted to change to a different one, simply click on the symbol. The chart will update accordingly.